Hey, sit down and get comfortable because we're getting ready to interview Ronnie Buttacavoli. I met you right after you came back from playing and living in Europe for a long period of time with a band called Soul Congress.
Correct.
And what were you doing there?
We originally were we were a house band in a club called the Cheetah, late 60s.
In New York?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I remember that club.
a promoter from France came in. We worked Tuesday through Sunday, and he came in Tuesday through Sunday asking us if we wanted to go to France to play on the Riviera for 2 months. And of course, being typical New Yorkers, everybody was like, yeah, sure, we'll be leaving tomorrow. Except Sunday, last day of the week, he came back with a contract, a bunch of cash, and airline tickets.
Bye-bye.
And we said, let's see, we'll go, So the contract was originally for 2 months on the Riviera in Saint-Tropez at a great club called Papagayo. And it was the beginning of almost a 9-10 year stint there.
It's fantastic.
It is. It was amazing.
And when you came back, I remember vividly,
Yeah,
a friend of ours brought you into my big band.
correct.
And I don't know how soon that was after you came back, but it seemed like it was pretty shortly thereafter. Did you work with Gloria Gaynor when you first came back here?
Yeah, she was first person I went out on the road with.
Yeah.
Yes, it was another interesting experience.
And what happened that was really interesting about that gig for you that may have affected your entire life?
I met a girl who hated me. At least that's what she said in the beginning.
Oh, yeah?
No, it was a girl came in, backup singer, who'd been living in originally from New York, but living in Arizona. And I guess she got tired of Arizona, put a demo record, because that's what people did back then. They had
I remember.
records, She submitted it to a whole bunch of people, and Gloria hired her to be a backup singer in the band. We met, we rehearsed, she didn't like me, wouldn't go out with me, wouldn't do anything, and then the next thing we know, we got married.
And meanwhile,
Oh, yeah.
you got married. You're still married.
We're still married.
And it's a long time after that.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much. We should thank her for being a saint.
Exactly. St. Amy. So what keeps you going? Playing all of these varied kind of environments that you're in. And I know you've got to learn books or arrangements if they're just head arrangements.
Right.
What keeps you going? What just is the motivating factor?
Well, certainly not money for a lot of things. I found over the years that things that are musically great sometimes don't pay a lot of money. Sometimes they do. Being out on tour with Steely Dan was great music and everything else was great. There are projects that I've been associated with for years now, that Palermo Big Band music of Frank Zappa, that's kind of like a labor of love. You love the music, you don't make any money, but that's not why you're in it. But basically,
you're still playing a couple times a month with that band, right?
Yeah. And it's the idea of, look, to me, music has always been two things. It's either good or it's bad. I don't really have preferences. Somebody says to me, I have an R&B gig for you. You want to do it? And I said, yeah. Somebody says, you want to sub on a show? Yes. A Broadway show? Yeah, I'll do that too. But it's just the idea I play my trumpet.
So you're a hired gun. That's what you are. You're a hired gun.
If you want to call it that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than road rat, which is what I used to call it.
They're all, you know what, those are just names.
Exactly.
Who cares?
So going back a little bit, you were with Donald Fagen on that one. Was that just one tour you did with him?
It was actually the New York Rock and Soul Review, and it was Steely Dan with Michael McDonald, Phoebe Snow, Boz Scaggs, and Chuck Jackson.
That's fantastic. Look at that group of folks that you had to go with. How did they find you?
You mean Donald?
Yeah. Was it through a contractor?
No, I had been. I was doing a club date, subbing on a club date band for a friend of mine called Night Sprite, and the tenor player we got to be immense friends. Cornelius Bumpus, who's no longer with us. You know. Cornelius called me up one day because we lived in Riverdale, like 5 minutes away from each other.
I remember.
And he says, "Hey man, you want to do this gig with Steely Dan or whatever?" Because I gave them your name, and I thought he was kidding me. And I said, "Yeah, what am I going to be doing? You know, sweeping up the studio?" Or he says, "Fool, you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So I don't know, maybe a week later, I got a message on my answering machine from Donald Fagen. "Yeah, man." I had submitted, you know, a video and kind of like a track record. And he says, "Yeah, man, we like what we heard, so you got the gig. My manager's going to be calling you." And I'm like, looking at the phone going, "Really? That's it?" I did subsequently go down and meet with him, you know, in this place over on 96th and 1st Avenue, I believe is where it was. And it was just, I mean, I also grew up listening to their music.
Of course.
You
Didn't
know,
we
like,
all?
like millions of other people. And just thought that, wow, how did this happen? You know, I've been fortunate, lucky, blessed, whatever you want to call it, to have been continuing on this road, you know.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
So, I guess the next spot I'd like to go to is your affiliation with Etta James. I know that you were on the road with her for a million years.
Almost 22 years.
Yeah, and also you were on the Grammy Award-winning Mystery Lady
This is correct, Mystery Lady,
album.
which was her tribute to Billie Holiday. That album was with some of the greatest musicians I've ever played with. The arranger and piano player was Cedar Walton.
Mm.
We had several different drummers. One being the great bebop drummer Billy Higgins. Ralph Penlin was another drummer. And Red Holloway on tenor saxophone, George Bohannon on trombone. I mean, just great musicians, you know. And the charts and everything else were just, you couldn't have asked for a better musical scenario than that. And between that and Etta's great singing, we won a Grammy right out of the box with that album.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh man, totally.
Yeah, I know you were I remember you being very excited about that
Yeah.
work while you were doing it because we would speak occasionally.
It was out in LA, you know, and it was just kind of like working with Steely Dan. You look around and you go, "Oh my God,
How did this happen?
how'd this happen?" And I'm here, you know. So it was
Was
great.
was a good
It
accident.
was an accident,
So now you're touring with Etta for 22 years,
almost.
and you're all over the place. I know, Europe, this
Europe,
country.
the States, South America,
Mm.
Norway.
How was that from an experience, just day to day, overall? Was it just like normal touring where you're like grunged
No.
out by the third stop?
No, I mean the grunge part of it is the travel.
Yeah, getting up
I
and
mean sometimes on a tour bus, you'd pull 18 hours from one city to another, you know, which is kind of like after 5 hours in a bus. You know, thank God everybody kind of loved each other because that would have been a difficult situation. But you're on a bus, you get off the bus, you eat. You don't get off the bus, you don't eat. Sometimes you may stop over to break up the ride because I think drivers, in theory, they can only drive a certain amount of time,
I think
and then
you're
have to
right,
stop. So depends on where you are. You may end up in like a Motel 6 somewhere or a Holiday Inn or.
But it's a bed in the shower.
Oh yeah, it's better.
Hopefully, it's a shower for
Yeah.
everybody that's on the bus.
So
So
well, I can't.
I know your good friend Cornelius was also on this
Yes,
this band.
in the beginning.
Did he bring you into this?
Yes, he did. Cornelius was a major.
Absolutely.
I don't know what to call him. He was a great friend. I mean, we were friends for years, and just looked at him because we were doing weddings, you know. And he said to me, "Want to do this?" And I was like, "Oh, that too." So it was kind of like, and the funny thing, the connection with him and Etta was that Etta's manager was from San Jose, which was where Bumpus was from originally, you know. And we went out there and just trumpet and tenor, which to me, for an R&B thing or even jazz, is like, I love that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I'd much rather play just trumpet and tenor than a big band with 5 trumpets or 4 trumpets, and the whole thing. Because to me, the trumpet tenor thing is a sound that I grew up with. It's funny, all my initial training was, classical, and then one day I heard James Brown and Otis Redding.
Everybody's the drummer.
I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Hey, you could have played drums in that band.
Not really.
No, don't you remember in the movie? He said,
Oh,
"You're a drummer."
you're drunk.
To who did he say that? Sax player. What's his name? The
I don't
great sax
actually
player.
know. Oh, Maceo?
Yes.
Oh, Maceo.
He said, "What do you play?" He said, "I play
Tenor.
saxophone. I play tenor."
Alto and
He
tenor.
said, "No, you don't. You play drums."
Yeah.
And I, peppered that with a couple of MFs.
But that's how,
So
bumpers-
here's an interesting point I just want to make to our audience.
Hi.
Exactly. What Ronnie's saying here is that you make a lot of friends up on the bandstand, if they still call it the bandstand. Be friends with everybody. Don't talk bad about anybody. Just be a happy guy and spread the love, because guess what? That dude may be getting you your next gig,
Correct.
as witnessed by my friend Ronnie.
Certain types of people are apt to do that. A lot of people will not.
They want to just hide, but
Yeah,
okay.
They'll just keep it,
So you've been doing Broadway, all kinds of shows forever.
Yes.
When you come off the road, you sub.
Correct.
And you obviously must be a great reader. I remember way back when a mutual
A
friend of
friend.
ours looked over at you and said, "Ronnie, come on, read something."
Read something. Play something. No, it's not that I couldn't read. I was just like,
Scared.
no, out of my
Nervous.
element for the
You were.
initially.
That's
'cause
right, because
that was
you-
a whole thing where, I played in big bands prior to going to Europe, here in in
Sure.
New York. But when you get out of doing that for a while, and then like these charts in your band were not, junior high school charts. A lot of them were Frank Foster,
Yeah.
Basie charts, Woody's charts, all kinds of stuff. And so when you're,
Those are great. Great jobs.
it takes a while to get back into that routine
Sure.
of, looking, but it worked.
It did. It was a great band.
It was a great band.
But overall, when you take the scope of your history in music, what really knocked it out of the ballpark for you? What was like your best of the best?
That's hard. Obviously working with Etta, Steely Dan, even Gloria. Those were all, they're so musical, and they're so not about, playing a wedding or somebody, what I call vanity project, of, for lack of a better description, somebody who puts up aluminum siding during the week and then says they're a musician on the weekend, getting hired, hired to do that, having to figure out what they actually want, or, those are not the things that drive me very much. I do them because...
You've been fortunate. You have had a stellar career in the music business.
Thank you. I appreciate
Seriously.
that.
You're kicking ass and taking no...
Cut. I didn't pay him for this.
No, he did. But in all seriousness, you've had this great career,
Very
and
fortunate.
we've been friends since you came back from Europe, and it's been really nice. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. It's been fun.
What's next?
I'm getting very close to wanting to just focus on my own musical thoughts, so to speak. I bought a house out on Long Island and put a small studio in the basement, which is still, a work in progress. I have tons of pieces of music that I look at them, listen to them, I'm like, what is this? Why did I do, okay, next, I'm getting very close to wanting to do just that. Work with friends, call them up, say, hey man, I got this chart, maybe you could put some guitar on it, or bass, or a tenor saxophone, or even vocals, Not that I'm going to sing, trust me. That's never going to happen, but that's probably what I want to do now. Who knows? I may even come up with something that people want to buy. Good
Well,
luck with that.
listen,
I
man.
know.
Thanks for sitting down and having this moment in
My
time.
pleasure.
I look forward to maintaining a constant
Relationship.
dialogue between us.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that next phase, you might hire me to play something.
I'm not going to hire you. I'm just going to call you up and say, hey, bring the guitar.
Excuse me. You pick up the phone, it costs something. Oh, no, that's right. These days it doesn't.
Hello. I'll text you now.
And we didn't get into any of the other wonderful things and wonderful projects that Ronnie's worked on, but maybe I can get him here again.
I'd be happy.
Thanks for Tune Producer. Keep us in mind. Go on the web, sign up, and just keep listening and go out and support local music. Thanks again.
You're welcome.